Your child freezes on the playground ladder. You rush forward. Your hand reaches out. And in that tiny 3-second rescue, their brain learns a quiet but dangerous lesson. I can't handle this. I need someone else to save me. Finnish parents do the opposite, and their children grow into some of the most confident, resilient, and emotionally steady kids in the world. Not because Finnish kids are born braver, but because their parents use a counterintuitive method that builds courage in just 90 days. You've seen the pattern again and again. Your child freezes at the top of the slide, clings to your leg when it's time to join other kids, refuses anything new because they're sure they'll fail. And every time, your heart aches a little. You want them to be brave. You want them to try, to trust themselves, to handle hard moments without collapsing. But right now, fear is winning more than you'd like. Imagine your child 90 days from today. They walk toward the climbing wall without hesitation. They handle disappointment without melting down. When something feels hard, their first instinct isn't "Mom, help." It's "Let me try." That child isn't years away. They're 3 months away. And the difference between today and 90 days from now isn't luck, personality, or talent. It's method. While most of us respond with instinctive protection, Finnish parents follow a science-backed approach that consistently produces children who are statistically among the happiest and most resilient on Earth. The magic is not in how much they love their kids. It's in what they do during the first 3 seconds after fear shows up. 3 parenting mistakes that accidentally reinforce fear. Most parents make these without even realizing it. Mistake number 1. Jumping in too quickly. Your child climbs a little higher than usual. You see hesitation. Your instinct kicks in. "Let me help you down." That's high enough. It feels protective. But here's what stress science shows. When children meet a challenge, their nervous system activates, heart rate rises, stress hormones release. This is normal. This is the start of courage. But if you rescue them before their body completes that cycle, their brain never learns. I can handle stress. Uncertainty doesn't mean danger. I can figure things out. You think you're building a safety net, but you're actually building dependence. Mistake number 2. Overdirecting. Every "be careful" carries a message their brain absorbs instantly. Kids don't just react to their own fear, they react to your fear. The moment your voice tightens, your child's amygdala fires up. You might think you're helping them stay safe, but emotionally, you're teaching them. This situation is dangerous even if I didn't think so before. It's the same feeling you get when someone micromanages your driving. Slow down, watch out, brake earlier. It doesn't make you better, it makes you doubt yourself. Your child feels the exact same thing. Mistake number 3. Removing all risk. You eliminate everything uncomfortable. No risky playground equipment, no sharp corners, no chance to mess up, no chance to fail. It feels responsible. But neuroscience shows the opposite. Fear doesn't shrink when avoided, it expands. Without tiny, safe doses of risk, the brain can't separate real danger from perceived danger. So eventually, everything feels scary. Think of a 7-year-old terrified of riding a bike without training wheels. Every attempt ends in tears. Parents stop trying to avoid trauma, but the brain only learns one thing: this is too dangerous for me. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, it doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're a caring parent, following natural instincts. Now it's time to learn what actually works. The Finnish Gap and the science of courage. Finnish parents rely on a principle that at first may sound almost neglectful. They don't rush to rescue. They trust, not because they care less, but because decades of neuroscience show that stepping in too early interrupts the brain development that builds courage. When a child faces a challenge and succeeds even a little, their prefrontal cortex lights up. That's the part of the brain responsible for emotional regulation, problem-solving, resilience, and that activation only happens when they do the work, not when you do it for them. This aligns with what developmental psychologists call autonomous supportive parenting, and with the Finnish cultural concept of Sisu, unique form of grit, the inner strength to keep going even when you feel like giving up. The method boils down to one core technique, ***, the Finnish Gap, a 3-second pause before you intervene. Observations of children problem-solving reveal something surprising. Give them just 3 seconds and most figure it out themselves, and the ones who don't, they still make meaningful progress. Either way, their brain is learning. Here's how this looks in real life. Developmental psychologists studied children who refused to ride a bike without training wheels. Every attempt ended in tears. Parents, understandably, stopped trying, thinking they were preventing trauma. But the child's brain was receiving a different message. If my parents keep backing off, this must actually be dangerous. When researchers introduced a Finnish-style intervention, everything shifted. Parents set a calm, firm expectation, 5 minutes of practice a day. The first week, the child cried every session. "You're safe. This is hard. You're doing it." By week 3, the crying stopped. By week 5, the child asked to practice longer. By week 8, they were teaching their younger sibling how to ride. Their physical ability didn't radically change. Their brain learned. A calm parent means there's no real danger. This is exactly what Finnish parents do from the beginning, and why Finnish children develop exceptional emotional regulation. The question is, but first, you must understand the 4 principles that make this method work. Without them, the 90-day system is just a routine. The 4 core pillars of the Finnish method. Pillar 1. Autonomy as the default, not a reward. In Finland, children walk to school alone at age 7. Legal note: in many countries, this isn't allowed. They pack their own bags, handle disagreements without adult intervention. It's strategic trust. When children experience autonomy, their brain's reward system activates. Completing a task triggers dopamine, which buffers cortisol, the stress hormone. Autonomy doesn't just foster independence. Trust communicates capability. You're sending a message, and children rise to the expectations you set. Let your 5-year-old cut vegetables with a child-safe knife. Let your 9-year-old attempt to resolve a friend conflict before you step in. Will they make mistakes? The first pillar builds their mental foundation. Pillar 2. Nature exposure as fear training. They play in forests, walk on uneven ground while wind pushes against them. This is why Finnish parents let babies nap outside in sub-zero temperatures. Nature provides unpredictable, yet safe, micro-challenges. Each teaches the brain how to evaluate risk accurately. Kids learn. Research comparing indoor-raised kids to nature-exposed kids shows striking differences. Those with regular outdoor exposure have just 10 minutes in nature does more for courage than an hour of indoor play. Autonomy in nature, exposure build capability. But one more pillar determines whether your child can use that capability when fear appears. Pillar 3. Emotional neutrality in parent responses. Their tone stays calm, grounded, matter of fact, because they understand nervous system science. Your calm becomes their calm. Your panic becomes their panic. When you stay steady, you're not ignoring their feelings, you're lending them your regulated nervous system. Compare the 2 styles. Finnish style, take your time. You're figuring it out. You've got this. Same moment. Completely different messages about danger and capability. Attachment research confirms. Your emotional regulation becomes their emotional regulation. Pillar for the 90-day micro-challenge framework. Now that you know the principles, here's how to apply them consistently. Knowledge is one thing, implementation is another. The 90-day framework gradually retrains their relationship with challenge. It's not dramatic, it's incremental. The 90-day framework explained for the first month. You follow a simple pattern. Nothing big, 5 minutes playing alone in the next room. But here's the key. Instead of be careful, you say, and every time you want to jump in, you practice the Finnish Gap. 3 seconds. You'll be amazed at how often your child solves the problem in those 3 seconds. 10 to 20 minutes of real outdoor sensory play. If you live in a city, find a patch of uneven ground in a park. It's not about the scenery. It's about the irregularity, the puddles, the dirt, the shifting ground, the unpredictable weather. Your child needs to know you're not abandoning them. You're simply shifting your role from rescuer to observer. And the key to making this work is consistency. One small challenge every day. Phase 2, days 31 to 60. Confidence in action. Your child stops looking at you before they try something new. They begin stepping into challenges without waiting for permission or rescue. You start increasing the distance between you and your child, literally and emotionally, during new tasks. This is where true competence begins to emerge. They begin managing simple, independent tasks. Yes, they'll forget things. They'll also begin moving into moderate physical risks. Experimenting with Parker-style play. Here's a powerful exercise for this phase. Watch your child attempt something challenging from a distance. Rate your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. Rate their actual capability on the same scale. In almost every case, parents discover their anxiety is an 8. their child's capability is a 6 or 7. That gap, the one between your fear and their ability. That's what you're working to close, not by making your child more capable, but by calibrating your perception to reality. Remember this truth. You build the environment, they build themselves. Phase 3, days 61 to 90. Fear mastery and identity formation in the final phase. The transformation becomes visible. Your child begins forming a new internal identity. I'm someone who handles challenges. When they encounter difficulty, let them struggle for 1 to 2 full minutes before stepping in. Use a timer because 60 seconds of watching your child struggle will feel like an hour. But that minute, that's where their brain rewires. During those moments, you're allowed to coach with questions, but not solutions. What's your plan? What have you tried? What else could you do? Do you want to think about it, or do you want help? You're guiding, not rescuing. The Week 9 Culmination Challenge. This is a symbolic milestone, a big but achievable challenge that represents everything they've been building. It could be a small solo hike on a familiar trail, completing a project with no adult assistance, attending a class without you staying, climbing a structure they've avoided for months. The specific task doesn't matter. The meaning does. This is their moment to prove to themselves, I can do hard things. Week 10, the Courage Journal. Each evening, your child draws or writes one thing they conquered that day. I tried broccoli. I climbed the tall slide. I solved the math problem myself. This practice shifts their internal focus from what scares me gives to what I can do. Over time, that shift becomes their default identity. Objections and reassurance for anxious kids and anxious parents. Let's address the worries almost every parent has. What if my child becomes reckless? Fearlessness is not reckless, risk-taking. Fearlessness means regulated. It means they can feel fear without shutting down. They can think clearly in uncertainty. They can accurately assess real danger versus imagined danger. The goal isn't to eliminate fear, it's to eliminate paralysis. My child is too anxious for this method. This is the most common concern, and it comes from a misunderstanding of anxiety. Research shows anxiety isn't a fixed temperament. It's a learned response pattern. And here's the important part. The more we accommodate anxiety by removing challenges, the stronger anxiety becomes. Highly anxious children don't need fewer challenges. The Finnish method is literally designed for nervous systems that haven't practiced confidence yet. You're not throwing them in the deep end. You're teaching them to wade. I can't stay calm like Finnish parents. Research on core regulation shows that when you practice the Finnish Gap, that tiny 3-second pause, over 90 days, parents consistently report, you don't have to be perfect. There's a crucial distinction. You're not letting your 5-year-old scale a cliff. You're letting them climb the playground ladder without hovering beneath them. You're still supervising. You're simply giving them space to build capability within those boundaries. What if my child pushes back or refuses? This is extremely common in the first 2 weeks. Children have learned that resistance makes parents back down. The Finnish approach responds with calm persistence. You restate the expectation. You hold the boundary. You stay warm. I know this feels hard, and you're still going to do it. This isn't punishment, it's a gift. A confidence-building gift. Most children stop resisting the moment they realize 2 things. The boundary is firm, and their parent is calm. That's when the real growth begins. So let's bring everything together. Fearlessness isn't recklessness. It's emotional regulation plus autonomy. It's a child who can feel fear and still move forward. The Finnish method gives you that blueprint. A calm tone, nature exposure, micro-challenges, and strategic trust through the Finnish Gap over 90 days. This system takes your child from supported autonomy, gives to confidence in action, gives to a new identity. Every day builds on the last. Remember the image we began with, your child hesitating at the playground ladder. In 90 days, that same hesitant child becomes the one helping other kids climb, not because you pushed them, but because you stepped back and allowed their capability to emerge. But here's what parents don't expect. Your child becomes fearless. They try new things, they bounce back from challenges, and then, they spill their juice at breakfast. You wait for them to clean it. They stare at you, waiting for you to fix it, because courage doesn't automatically create responsibility. A child can climb the tallest structure at the playground, yet still wait for you to pick up their toys, clean their mess, or pack their bag. Japanese parents solve this with a simple 5-second technique that shifts children from someone will fix this to I'll handle this myself. No nagging, No reminding, just 5 seconds of intentional silence that rewires how they respond to their own mistakes. If you want children who are both brave and responsible, this is the next step. And in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to use this method.